Hi, I'm Rose, and welcome to the Strawberry Rose podcast. My goal with this podcast is to share my journey and things that I learn along the way. Different tips and methods that I learn on building and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, especially while taking care of a brand new baby. So I hope you'll enjoy, and let's get into the episode. So let's start how I got here. I grew up about halfway between Michigan, near Detroit, and the other half in Florida, in the Keys. I took just about every science class my school offered that I could take at one time in high school, and didn't really know what field to choose in college. I got dive certified when I was 21, and I met my now husband when I was 22, playing games on the internet. He lived on the West Coast, and I lived on the East Coast. After dating long distance for about a year, I moved to California when I turned 23. I wanted to go back to school to become a dietitian once I knew what that was, but I discovered down the road that wasn't really going to work out for me. Out-of-state tuition is no joke, but I love science and nutrition and nature. Hiking has been one of my favorite things to do, especially since moving out west. The mountains out here are beautiful. Diving and snorkeling were definitely my closest experiences before moving out here. We moved around a bit, figuring out our lives, and ended up in Nevada, where we bought our first home in 2022. I ended up getting married at 27, backpacking the Grand Canyon at 29, and having my first baby at 30, which, to be fair, I'm 31 now, but our birthdays are exactly 1 month apart. She was born June 22nd, and my birthday is on the 22nd of July. So I turned 31 pretty much right after she was born. But once I became a mom, my life changed in ways I never expected. So leading up to my due date, I'm 30 and pregnant and ready to have my baby any day. My mom and stepdad are visiting for the month I'm due to help me out and to just be amazing. I love them. Me and my mom are redoing my entire kitchen, painting and remaking the cabinet doors and painting the walls. I absolutely love how the kitchen turned out. It was some work, but me and my mom got it done in little over a week together. Everything was pretty easy for my entire pregnancy up until that point. My only cons were that I couldn't enjoy the sweet, sweet taste of coffee and light nausea in the first trimester only. And I felt pretty blessed I didn't have a hard pregnancy. I was pretty active the entire time, averaging about 18,000 steps a day and 15 flights of stairs. My workplace was about an hour drive away from my house and a tad over a half hour away from the hospital. Tools I used at this point were the Life 360 app, so my husband could see exactly where I was if I needed help or if I had to stop if there was a winter storm or anything during the time. If anything happened, he could find me. I also had my phone on me during work, so if anything happened, I could immediately contact him or my parents. My plan was, if anything started during work, I could get my parents to come pick me up and drive me to the hospital. Figuring birth doesn't normally happen, immediately for most people. I was working and away from home for 10 to 12 hours a day, 4 to 6 days a week, every week. I had the week before my due date off using some PTO I had saved up. I had almost 10 weeks after that I didn't work outside of the home for the first time in my adult life. So my new job was recovering, physically recovering, and being a mom. Rely on others for care, and a lot stopped. Like my mind had been running a marathon for over the past decade and change nonstop. Up until I had my baby, I didn't have that much time off from the workplace. I've always worked. Never off for more than the time it took to move, in which time I was actively moving the house, moving furniture, reorganizing things. I was still active, performing jobs or duties or tasks that I had given myself. Even during college, on the days I didn't have school or I wasn't working on schoolwork, I worked a standard job. Vacations were weekends, camping, or visiting family. I think a lot of people can relate. Postpartum, I didn't expect, or that I was physically forced to just accept the help from others. Things were across the board more challenging. I expected difficulties in nursing, I expected pain, I expected to be sore, and I expected recovery. But that reality versus the expectation was a shock to me. It was hard to accept the help, not because I was ungrateful, but because my independence had been sapped in a way that I wasn't prepared for. I can't express my gratefulness to how blessed I was to have help. I didn't expect it to be so hard to just be in that position. I just want everyone to know that it's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to accept the help. That was hard for me, and I don't want it to be hard for everyone. I just want to be at least that one more person that lets you know it's okay. Having my husband bring me meals while I nursed our new baby was super nice, but necessary. It was difficult for me to get up when sitting, to accept the help, and to accept the pain of sitting was unexpected. My back hurt in ways I didn't expect. Bending over to pick up the baby, and the back and forth, lifting her up and setting her down, they weren't normal motions that my body was used to. I was taking ibuprofen on the dot every single day, or I would suffer for it. Sitting down at the dinner table was difficult because it hurt. That's just the physical part. Mentally, I couldn't believe how challenging life had become. It hurt to do everything. It hurt to nurse. It hurt to sit down. It hurt to use the restroom. But it hurt to feel my independence collapse. I couldn't do it alone. I couldn't feed myself alone properly. I couldn't socialize properly. It was exhausting doing anything. And not just because of lack of sleep. I definitely tried eating out too soon. I needed help getting up out of chairs. I felt ridiculous because I had taken such simple actions for granted. These are the things that I just wanted to talk about. The fears and overcoming them were surprising. I feared anything wrong could happen. What if she just stopped breathing? I think every mom or parent has that fear. What if she chokes on her spit up? What if she's too cold, or what if she's too hot? It's the what ifs that got me for sure. The important thing to know is it just gets better. They get stronger and grow every single day. And they'll communicate in their own ways. They let you know when something is wrong. I had to trust that. I'll share my birth story in a later episode for sure, but I just wanted to establish where I'm coming from and kind of who I am as a person. I want to share some of the challenges and different things that I learned, but it really opened me up to new opportunities. So I'm going to continue to share the things that I learned and the things that I'm learning all along the way. My daughter is 6 months old now, and she's approaching 7 months really fast. There was also, this last week is the first time that she's been sick, and that was horrible. And I'm not talking about, I did have a time where she had pink eye or like a little irritation on her eye. That was fine. But this is the first time that she's been sick. So snot going everywhere. I finally actually used the little Freedom Mom snot sucker, and that thing is really handy. I was worried to use those because I thought that when you used those, it would get like the snot straight up in your mouth. It looked disgusting. Trust, does not happen. There's a little filter on there on the inside. My mom assured me, don't worry, that doesn't happen. But I had to actually see the thing in person before I even was thinking of trying it. But I'm really glad I knew where that was. So definitely a recommendation for anyone. It's so helpful when they are sick. But she did hate it. She didn't really think it was bad at first because she thought it was kind of funny and giggled. But as soon as I started actually sucking the snot out, she's like, oh gosh, this is horrible. Why are you doing this to me, Mom? No, stop. So yeah, first time she was sick, learned she hated that. Also was horrible. I thought that setting her down or laying her down was so bad because it would just all of the congestion would just drain down and she would start choking on it. It was terrifying. So it wasn't too bad though. She didn't ever gain a fever. Her general composure was pretty normal. I think she got upset when she had a headache or something that she didn't understand was going on. But generally, she was pretty normal, and I was really happy that she was doing pretty well the whole time. I'm also glad to learn about different things about her all the time, so I am really lucky because my mom has always been a part of childcare or daycare, or she's been a nanny, and I can always reach out to her if I have any questions or if I'm not sure about something. So I'm really glad if I did have anything, I can always call my mom and be like, hey, is this normal? Do I need to go to the doctor for this? Is this something that I should get checked out? And she's got a really good rule of thumb, general sense of things. She's also had plenty of kids to deal with, so including my step siblings, there were 6 of us in the house, and then I have a half sister who's in the other side of the family. So definitely been around kids. She knows what she's talking about. I love her, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life. So I wasn't too worried about her when she was sick. I just knew I needed to be there and drain the snot out every once in a while. But she's doing so much better already, and it's been almost a week since that happened. As of tomorrow, it will have been a exact week. So she's been doing so much better. Less and less drainage every day. She sounds better for a little while. She had this weird kind of cough laugh that she would do, which also seemed like it was confusing her. She definitely thought it was funny, the way that she sounded, which was also kind of funny and just good to see. So she's doing so great right now. The last checkup for the 6th month, she was at the 80th percentile for her height and weight. She's a pretty big, healthy baby, and I'm happy with it. I'm very thankful that things have been going very smoothly with her so far. She sleeps pretty well also, which is good. She's actually napping, and that's pretty much the only time I have to record my episodes. So we'll see how long I can do these for, and I'm super excited to share this whole journey. So thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions or anything else, please feel free to leave a comment. Any incentive to help out would be great. I do have a Patreon, so once I have a few episodes, I will post the topics on my Patreon so that topics will be posted. You can ask questions based off of that topic for future episodes. The link will also be in my bio, so anybody can see where that is. It will only be $1 per month for anyone who wants to ask questions. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Also, for my fun fact for the day, I discovered that cabbage can be used for breast engorgement. So I would have liked to know this during the early days, but when you have that going on and there's a lot of pressure buildup and it hurts, you can take the leaf of the cabbage and you can either crinkle it or you can roll a rolling pin over it to kind of break up the cells on that cabbage leaf. And then you can put that in between your bra and your boob, and you can use that to reduce that engorgement pain. And it does have the potential to affect your milk supply. So that's where I think it's really good if you were an oversupplier. So if you're struggling to produce enough milk, it might not be the best option for you, but it's pretty darn cool, and it's probably really helpful if you're trying to taper off your supply as well. So enjoy. Thanks for joining me today, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.